For almost 100 years, there's been this one book, kind of whispered about in the circles of the most successful people, almost like a secret manual for getting anything you want out of life. That book is Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the core secret formula that the industrial titan Andrew Carnegie challenged Hill to uncover and share with all of us.
So, the whole story really starts with Andrew Carnegie, who was one of the wealthiest people in all of history. He was just absolutely convinced that success wasn't an accident or luck. He believed he had a magic formula, a clear, repeatable process that anyone, and he meant anyone, could use to achieve incredible success, and he wanted to prove it.
Yeah, so this isn't just one guy's opinion. This is the result of an epic 20-year-long research project. Hill literally sat down with titans like Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and John D. Rockefeller to figure out the common thread, the secret sauce, that ran through all of their massive successes. Carnegie's whole mission was to make this formula accessible to the average person who just didn't have the time or the connections to figure it all out for themselves.
All right, so Carnegie's quest for this formula, it revealed a very clear starting point for all achievement. It's actually the first and really the most critical piece of his entire philosophy.
Now, we're not talking about a casual wish here, I hope I get rich someday kind of thing. Hill describes this as a white-hot, all-consuming, definite desire. It's a goal that has to become the dominating obsession of your life. Honestly, it's the fuel for the entire engine. Without it, nothing else can even get started.
And Hill doesn't just leave this as some vague, abstract idea. Oh no, he makes it super concrete with the incredible story of a man named Edwin C. Barnes, who basically became the living embodiment of this principle. Look, Barnes was by all accounts a nobody. He had zero money. In fact, he had to ride a freight train just to get to Edison's laboratory, and he didn't even know the famous inventor. But his desire was incredibly specific, and you gotta notice the language here. He was determined to become Edison's business associate, not just another employee on the payroll.
And this contrast right here, this is everything. On the left, you've got this weak, passive hope. But on the right, that's Barnes's mindset. He literally burned all the bridges behind him. There was no plan B. He was willing to start with the most menial job in the place because in his own mind, he was already Edison's partner from the moment he walked in the door.
So, to make this something you can actually do, Hill laid out these 6 practical steps for turning that desire into cold, hard cash. The whole process forces you to be definite. Exact amounts, exact dates, and an exact plan. And check out that last step. It's not just about reading words, it's about emotionally and mentally living in that reality you want, long before it ever shows up.
Okay, so desire gets you started. It's the spark. But what happens when you hit a wall? When you face failure after failure? Well, that's where the second pillar of this formula comes into play. It's the force that keeps that fire from burning out.
To really hammer this point home, Hill tells one of the most famous parables in all of success literature, the story of a man who stopped just 3 feet from gold.
So, picture this. Darby and his uncle, they strike gold. They're ecstatic, on top of the world. They buy machinery, they start digging, but then the vein of gold ore just vanishes. Poof, gone. Totally frustrated and defeated, they just gave up. They sold everything to a local junk man for a few $100 and went home with their tails between their legs.
Well, the junk man who bought the claim was a little bit smarter. He hired a mining engineer who came out, took a look, and realized Darby had quit right before a fault line. The engineer calculated that the vein picked right back up again just 3 feet from where they had stopped digging. 3 feet. The junk man went on to make millions from that very same mine.
Man, Darby learned a painful but absolutely priceless lesson that day. He actually went on to become a wildly successful insurance salesman because he took that motto to heart. Every single time a potential client told him no, he just remembered he was only a few feet from gold and he refused to quit. This unwavering persistence, that is the second key.
Okay, so we have desire, that's the engine, and we have persistence, that's the fuel. But an engine and fuel are pretty useless without a steering wheel and a map, right? You need a plan. And that brings us to the third key component of the formula, the mind's workshop. This brings us to the power of our next big principle, which Hill calls imagination. Think of this as the workshop of your mind, where your desire actually gets shaped into a workable plan. And of course, he tells a story to show us exactly how it works.
So the story starts out simply enough. There's this drug clerk, Asa Candler, and he spends every single penny he has, $500, which was a fortune back then, to buy an old kettle and a piece of paper with a secret formula for a soft drink from a local doctor. On the surface, it looks like a crazy, foolish gamble.
But here's the thing. The formula itself wasn't anything revolutionary. But Candler, he added a mysterious ingredient of his own, something the doctor had no idea about. So what was it? What was the secret sauce that transformed this simple little soda fountain drink into the global empire we now know as Coca-Cola?
The secret ingredient wasn't a physical substance. It wasn't something you could taste or touch. It was pure, unadulterated imagination.
See, Asa Candler didn't just see a drink in a kettle. He used his imagination to see that drink in the hands of millions of people all around the world. He envisioned a brand, a business, a massive distribution network. Imagination is the catalyst. It's what takes a burning desire, fuels it with persistence, and then shapes it all into an organized, actionable plan.
So we have the 3 core pillars: desire, persistence, and imagination. Now it's time to put all the pieces together and reveal Carnegie's secret in its complete form.
So you see, the secret isn't some single magic trick. It's a complete operating system for your mind. It's the disciplined practice of defining a burning desire, holding on to it with unwavering faith, which just means you absolutely believe you can achieve it, and persistence against every single obstacle, and then using your imagination to build and execute a definite plan.
And this quote right here, it pretty much sums up the entire philosophy of the book. Your thoughts aren't just random, fleeting impulses zipping around in your head. When you focus them with this formula, they become tangible forces. They are the seeds of your reality. And when you cultivate them properly, their potential is absolutely limitless.
So there you have it. We've just walked through the exact formula that has been used to build empires, create world-changing inventions, and accumulate unimaginable fortunes. The blueprint is right in front of you. And it all begins with answering that very first, most important question: what is it that you truly desire?